On March 23, 2010, former President Obama signed into action the Affordable Care Act, or as many call it, Obamacare. My proposition is that the United States should remove Obamacare and reinstate a private healthcare system. I define the United States as a Northern American country. I define should as an obligation to the American people. I define reinstate as restore, and define private healthcare as a healthcare system that provides health insurance primarily through private health companies. Under Obamacare, there have been major tax increases and other economic impacts, as well as harming the middle class and making more people uninsured. The harms from which Obamacare has put on our country in terms of health coverage further outweigh any benefits it may have had. Obamacare is economically damaging to our country. The economic stress that Obamacare has imposed has worsened our healthcare system and prompted the need for change. Obamacare raises taxes immensely, making it more difficult on middle class and lower class citizens to maintain their coverage. From an article from the Wall Street Journal, it stated that 85% of newly imposed healthcare taxes fall on the middle class, making healthcare very difficult for middle and lower class citizens to maintain. Additionally, Obamacare has caused insurance premiums to be much higher than they were previously. Obamacare promised to lower premiums, but the opposite thing has occurred. Another article from the Wall Street Journal discusses the repercussions Americans are facing due to its high premiums, saying that since the plan was signed, premium costs have more than doubled. Lastly, Obamacare has caused insurance holders to have much higher deductibles. Due to this, many cannot afford the medical expenses and to receive the care that they need, affecting primarily, again, lower and middle class citizens. Higher deductibles means more money paid out of pocket that they don't have. According to the Investor's Business Daily, the lowest deductible available under Obamacare is on a silver plan. This averages about 5.8% of insurance holders' income. To put that into perspective, a family with an income of $600,000 would be paying around $30,000 annually for deductible costs, not including other medical and lifestyle expenses. Due to these economic impacts, many have been left without health insurance, and the system as a whole has failed. Rather than making health insurance more attainable, it has done the opposite, harming low-income families that were told would benefit from the system. Being that healthcare is a necessity to each individual, it is important that it is accessible. By adopting a private healthcare system, healthcare companies can have more control over the costs, which helps to ensure that more people have coverage. The second harm under Obamacare is having more people uninsured than before. Many people have lost their health insurance coverage and have had very limited options. A major goal of the Affordable Health Care Act was to raise the number of people insured. Since its launch, the national uninsured rate did drop within the first year. However, in many states, the rate of uninsured actually increased immensely, and the number of people purchasing healthcare dropped by large amounts. A Kaiser Foundation survey said that 48% of people admitted that they found Obamacare was too expensive. Moreover, when Obamacare was enacted, people were told that they could keep the plans that they were on if they were happy with them. But soon after its launch, hundreds of thousands of people were forced to switch plans in which they could not afford. In an article analyzing the efficacy of Obamacare, it was stated that since many were given such a limited option and selection of plans, most were left worse off than before the Affordable Care Act was instated. And finally, low-income families have been hit hard. The promised group of people are now suffering from high health insurance costs or not insured at all. In fact, an article from the Wall Street Journal informed that families that fell below the poverty line had the highest numbers of coverage loss. Although the Affordable Care Act was supposed to make coverage more affordable and allow people the option to keep their plans, the opposite effect occurred, forcing many people into plans that did not serve them well, and thousands were left with absolutely no coverage whatsoever. So how do we change this? A private healthcare system would allow more people to be insured and would lower the cost. The inherency in which Obamacare has not been successful is both attitudinal and structural. The structure of the Affordable Care Act heightens the cost of insurance and has affected many people to have a negative attitude towards it, which is discouraging them from purchasing health care plans at all. For example, many have a negative perspective on Obamacare as a whole, and in a survey conducted involving women between the ages of 18 and 55, it found that 50,000 Black, Hispanic, and Caucasian women of origin had very negative attitudes towards it and felt it would not improve their coverage situation. In addition to this survey, a Yale Law and Policy Review studied the structure of the ACA. It stated that the act does not eliminate discriminatory acts against insurance holders, does not alleviate medical deprivation, and does not reduce federal deficits, all which were promised before Obamacare was enacted, ultimately proving that the act has been self-defeating and unsuccessful. To conclude, the nature of the ACA has made it difficult for private insurance companies to stand on their own. From the same Yale Law and Policy Review, it was also mentioned that the ACA makes private health insurance companies seem something that they are not. It encourages current policyholders to leave the insurance pool, which lessens the competition and ultimately upsets the entire ecosystem of our healthcare. Therefore, the structural and attitudinal downsides of the ACA has made it very unsuccessful. A majority feel that there is a need for change, and the complete removal and replacement of Obamacare is necessary. Clearly, Obamacare was created with good intentions, but failed to achieve its ambitions, leaving the United States with an economically damaging system and more Americans uninsured than ever before. The best thing the United States could implement to resolve many of the problems caused by the Affordable Care Act would be to reinstate a private healthcare system. The agency that would be responsible in doing so is the President of the United States, in which they would have to propose a plan that would then have to be approved by Congress and the House of Representatives. They eventually would have to pass this as new legislature. In order to mandate this plan, an executive order would either have to be written or the Supreme Court would have to rule Obamacare as unconstitutional. A private healthcare system is mostly self-financing and requires little to no government funding, making much of the costs evenly distributed between insurance companies and its holders. When a private healthcare plan is implemented, a large amount of jobs are generated, as private healthcare is one of the largest industries in the U.S. economy, providing quality and low wait times for appointments and procedures. The first advantage to a private healthcare system is the generation of jobs, opening many opportunities within hospitals, insurance companies, and other private healthcare entities, helping to alleviate much of the negative economic impact of Obamacare. The second advantage of a private healthcare system would provide several options for each and every individual, lowering healthcare costs altogether, motivating people to keep their insurance plans or switch to ones that work best for them, essentially providing custom healthcare for everyone's individual needs. The United States should remove Obamacare and reinstate a private healthcare system. I affirm the proposition because it would provide customized healthcare and alleviate the current harms. Conclusively, Obamacare has proven to fail in many areas, but two of its most impactful harms are the fact that its economic impact has been detrimental and the number of uninsured has raised immensely. Essentially, Obamacare is a one-size-fits-all approach to a problem where there are many sizes in terms of healthcare needs. Private healthcare would provide customized healthcare to all who need it. Thanks.